Good afternoon, everybody. This is Christopher Tipper with Hunter Benefits Consulting Group. This is our regular Wednesday afternoon webinar. Nope, you're on the right day. We had some extenuating circumstances where we were able to make Tuesday into Wednesday for certain guests on our webinar. The purpose of our Wednesday webinars is 15 minutes of content, 15 minutes of Q&A. We're going to see how that works out today. The idea is to have something be sales positive, RISA based, and to make and to be a resource for our friendly financial professionals and CPAs. All right, the slide deck and recording will be shared afterwards. We're going to have a couple of slides. We're going to have a survey at the beginning and at the end. And yes, today I'm very, very happy to have two of my friends from Fidelity. They are now TPA friendly, as the slide says. We're going to talk about past, present, and future, and that's a lot to do in 15 minutes. So let's get rolling here. And there we go. So before we dive in, Amanda, we want them to put a number in the chat, right?
That's correct.
Okay. So before we dive in, how knowledgeable are you today about Fidelity's TPA offerings? We're talking about what they can do on the TPA side, not how well known they are on the wealth management and things like that. Okay. So if you could throw in the number for your answer there. We'll look at that later, and there's going to be another one at the end. All right. So now, today we have, my very good acquaintance, Alex, and my good friend, Beth. Is it okay if I say it like that, Alex? Okay. And I'm very, very happy to have Fidelity on our webinar. We have, for those of you who know people at other record keepers, the other record keepers have been asked, and it's the good people at Fidelity who have said yes. So we have Beth Robinson, Vice President of the TPA program. She goes, but your nom de plume is the TPA lady?
That's correct.
And then Alex, do you have an interesting secret identity that you can share with us?
I think Alex is about as exciting as it gets.
Because Alex is about as exciting as it gets. Okay. So Beth is the Vice President of the TPA program, and Alex is, you've got, like it says, Indiana, Kentucky, Maryland, Ohio, Pennsylvania, and West Virginia. I'm hoping those are all touching each other, okay? All next to each other. And your job is to what, Alex?
So my focus is to support advisors within that territory. So I cover about 900 advisors, and we're helping them at all stages in the 401k process. So some of my advisors are completely new, and it's a line of business that they're excited to explore. Others are specialists who have been doing this for some time, but Fidelity hasn't been a primary record keeper for them. So we're working on deepening relationships, building relationships with TPAs like Hunter Benefits, and helping advisors do this business better.
And so this webinar ties in with what you're supposed to be doing, right?
It's my job. Job security.
And Beth, I describe you as being kind of in charge of the TPA channel at Fidelity. Is that close enough?
That's close enough. I do all the things.
All right. So, does everybody know that Fidelity is now TPA friendly? What? So, Beth and Alex, let's go through why you guys used to do what you do. Let's go through the history. It was a big surprise to me. I think a lot of people don't understand where you were, where you've been recently, and where you are now. So take it away.
Yeah, that's a great question and a great way to start. I think our Fidelity history is it's dynamic, and it is has been over many, many decades. So if you Google or use Copilot or ChatGPT and simply say, provide a history of Fidelity, it's going to take you all the way back to the 30s. That's when the first Fidelity fund was created. And as it goes through all the decades, it's really interesting to watch the development and the growth of a financial institution. That one is US based, it is family owned and family owned to this day. and US only until the late 60s when we branched out to Ireland and Asia and other countries as we developed more international investment options. But we were really fund focused until 1982. Obviously, 401ks had to become available. And Fidelity thought, what a great way to sell our funds is through 401ks. So we launched our retirement business in 1982. And for the most part, our sales and our market initiatives have all been direct. You know, Fidelity has continued to grown or to continue to grow and has grown
And grown.
and grown. I hope there's not a grammar test at the end of this. But really through kind of self-determination. And it wasn't until the early 2000s where we then said, wait a second, you know, we're competing with a growing marketplace in the advisor space. We need to lock arms. We need to do this together. And so if we look at, you know, the 21st century is kind of where we started opening our doors. So what Alex is doing is incredibly important because we need to build more advisor relationships. And then in 2023 is when we opened our doors and launched the TPA program. So very, very new, but we are not last. I would just like to say we were not first and maybe not 10th, but we're not last. ADP still does not have a TPA program, nor does Schwab. But when we look at our Fidelity business, we have always had TPAs. We've worked with TPAs, but never proactively and never with intention. And this is where we have come together. We now have a team of 6 that are specifically focusing on great TPAs in the marketplace, like Hunter Benefits, who are willing to collaborate with us, who are adding extreme value to our clients, not only in our what we call our core market, but we are seeing TPAs really add value into every marketplace that we serve. So it's really exciting.
Why? What was the trigger? I can't imagine Fidelity spends time and money and energy on something without having some kind of preconceived ROI or whatever. What was it about? Because if you started in 23, that means they started thinking about this seriously in 22 or before. Okay. So what happened in 21 or 22 to tip the scales at Fidelity?
Well, I think a couple things happened at the same time. One is our market presence in the very, very large end of the business is very saturated. You know, there's only 500 Fortune 500 companies. We have a
Wait,
lot
there
of
are?
those.
That's it?
So far, as far as I know.
Okay. New math.
So we have we've done extraordinarily well up market. We do very well in terms of our market share kind of in that mid and large space as well. But we're not doing great when you look at our core and small market because one is advisors didn't know that we could sell small plans. They didn't know that they could work with their favorite TPA. It was assumed that we were very expensive in that lower end of the market. And when you look at the marketplace under 50 million, 60% of that is with a TPA. And we weren't even getting bites. And so the organization knew that if we continue to grow, we're going to have to grow at the smaller end of the market between that 1 and 50 million. And this was a
I'm
great
still
way to
amazed.
grow.
Yeah, the fact that not just you, but most of your side of the table puts 1 to 50 million in the same sentence. Okay, so Alex, question for you: what is in your role? Are you more? And I think you're going to disappoint me here and say it's equal. Are you more focused on TPA side of the business? I know you're talking to advisors. Are you more focused on TPA business or on bundled business?
So, I'll give you a roundabout answer if that's okay. I know you like those, Christopher. So, I think one of the unique things about the time that my team showed up, which was January of 2024, is it coincided with Beth getting her program up and running. And so, really soon out the gate, as we were talking to these advisors, we found that the advisors were working with TPAs that they preferred and had a loyalty to. But on top of that, our clients really, or our plan sponsors, wanted to see TPAs. So, I would say if you had asked me at the beginning, in January of 2024, I would have said advisors were my focus. But if I am traveling in territory, I'm going to see my TPA partners because we're all on the same side of the table. And what we're finding is everyone showing up and doing what they do best has made for a more positive experience for the plan sponsor, better outcomes for participants. And that's really what I think the end goal is for everybody on the call.
Well, yeah. So even though your role started off on the advisor side, okay, it actually started, that whole position started after Beth was able to get things going for herself on the TPA side. Oh, see, I do this for my education. Okay. So thank you very much. I am actually learning stuff here. So that's very good. So I'm going to ask each of you the same question, but one at a time. So Alex, what are the biggest, may I use the word stumbling blocks? What are the biggest objections that you're seeing out there to going TPA with Fidelity?
From the advisor standpoint
Yeah,
specifically,
yeah,
I think what I find, so just so everyone's aware, I cover our core space, so 1 to 50 million. And I would say a good share of my business is in the 10 million and below space. So I see a lot of opportunities with advisors who likely have the retail assets or the wealth assets for the client. And so from their standpoint, introducing a TPA presents maybe additional work, an element of risk. For the advisors who have leaned into that, what I see are tends to be plans that are much healthier, a plan sponsor who feels confident in the plan that they've put together, they feel competitive in that landscape. But what I hear very consistently is like, oh, that's one more person. It's easier if we don't have a TPA as part of that. And so a lot of our conversations are about really engaging your client to understand what it is that they need and will make them feel comfortable and successful with their plan. Because what we see is when a TPA comes on board, things get better. And that's why someone like Beth is so important to Fidelity.
so Beth, same question for you.
I think I go back to, some of I would say the myth busting that we've been doing, where I think generally the advisors just were not aware of our offering, which is why getting the opportunity to sit and share with you and your people is so important to us. They just didn't know it was available, and I think there were some preconceived notions. One, we may steal their plan, which is absolutely never going to happen. Or we were expensive. Now we're not cheap. We add a lot of value and offer a lot of tools and technology for sponsors and participants, but we have the ability to be very cost competitive when it comes to working with TPAs. We built a sales solution specifically so that advisors could sell a plan with a TPA. It's a 30% price discount with great funds, same platform, so the same great experience for the client and the participant. And we called that Fidelity Retirement Edge.
Right, I remember. Okay. So what has, okay, um, what's I'm trying to be respectful of who you work for, but so I don't know if I'm going to ask a question that's too okay.
Oh, just give it to us.
Well, no, no, no. So there was probably some reticence on the Fidelity side of you doing your job, right? What are the things that you're still working on changing? And maybe that's for both of you. What are you guys trying to get changed at the home office? Is it culture? Is it expectations? Is it technology? Because you got to be trying to change something. So what is it, Beth?
All the above. And I
Okay.
think culture is probably number one. We have a incredible culture at Fidelity where we have folks who started with us right out of college and they have 30 plus years of tenure. So they're they have experience working with Fidelity in one way. And so introducing a new partner is completely new. And so, change is hard, and change takes time. So, we have been spending a lot of time with our internal teams educating around the value of TPAs, what they do, their role and responsibility, the value, and also kind of the outcomes that we're seeing. So it's a lot of storytelling and it's a lot of just introductions. I think once they meet a TPA, they usually love that TPA. So the cultural shift is happening so much so that we have salespeople, service teams, implementation teams, and even other business units who are like, "Can I work with TPAs?" Like it has
Wow.
really, really improved the overall outcomes, not only internally for our people, but for our clients. And so that's been really positive. Technology, of course, we had to start from the foundation. We have to build the house, so that we could add all the cool furnitures and furnishings. So we're still building the house. We want to make sure that TPAs can see the data, be able to have transparency into the operations of the plan, ensure that we're not creating more risk for anybody. So when we just kind of look at what we're building that in mind from a foundational purpose, and then kind of working our way and starting to iterate how we add more technology and more cool stuff. So it's efficient, it's profitable, and everybody's happy.
Okay. Alex, you've been doing this, your role at Fidelity, you've been doing this for 2.5 years now, right?
That's
Okay.
right.
Has it is it changing so that it's easier for you or harder for you? You hit all the low hanging fruit now, and I mean, so i- is it just easier getting your message across now? Have you noticed a change in what it takes for you to get your job? I'm sorry, this is not a performance review. I'm trying to gauge as to how much people know what's going on there.
I mean, I think I definitely notice that there's traction, that people are aware of what's changed at Fidelity. And like I jokingly say, like we're all evangelizing. And to Beth's point, we're trying to work across a broader network. So even internally, my partners are aware of what we're doing and where we might fit. So they're even coming to me with, hey, I spoke with this advisor, we might have an opportunity. That being said, I think that the history of us maybe not being as TPA centric as we are now is obviously much greater than the time we have been. And so there are always going to be advisors that we're having that conversation with. But I think, what I'm seeing is in terms of the landscape is we talk a lot about like who people are partnering with, but now we're starting to talk about who's also partnering with you. So we are trying to build relationships that both roads are happy people. And so strong TPAs, strong advisors, strong record keeping partners. So we know that some of this is us playing the long game. And even if we get over that hurdle, we still need to build that relationship and trust that might have been slightly damaged by things that happened in the past.
Okay.
So
Okay.
a little bit of an
Okay.
uphill battle, but not too bad.
Beth, I'm presuming Fidelity did something like name recognition or something like that before you started. I'm just kind of curious. Has there been any survey? No, I mean, again, I'm asking questions I don't know the answer
Yeah.
to, and these are a surprise to you because we're not following what we talked about the last two phone calls. So, but we'll get there. But as you're saying things, I'm like, wait a minute, I got more questions. So have you, is there a measurable gap or not gap, sorry. Is there a measurable increase in the community's awareness as to what you can do with TPAs?
I think so. I mean, if we just look at our pure TPA sales, in
Yeah, right.
2022, we sold 12 plans with a TPA,
Woo!
for a minimal amount of assets. When we launched in
God, was one of those
2023,
ours?
we were
Yeah.
over 100. Our goals for 2026 are at 500 plans. We've sold over 1,400 plans and $9 billion with TPAs.
Okay.
So the numbers are definitely speaking for themselves. And once we were able to go out and share what we were doing and how we are doing it, I think it was really well received.
Okay. Amanda, because what I can't see, do we have any questions in there that's going on,
Yes,
Amanda?
we just got a question. It's a question for Christopher. What has Fidelity
Oh,
changed with their TPA partnership slash capabilities that has won you over as a partner with them? Or what did they have to overcome in order for you to want to partner with them on plans as the TPA?
That's a great question. I love that advisor.
okay. I'm going to be interested to find out who it is later. Okay, that's not a yes no question. Okay, well, um, Beth's a friend. Hey, I figured that if Beth's going to be trying to get that steamship turned around, there's got to be something going on here. No, but for us, it's the simple fact that they were putting their money where their mouth was. They were trying to be TPA friendly. Okay, and then two things about our job on the side. Okay, one was that we figured out we had we had a very granular look at their adoption agreement, because we're going to talk about that in a minute. Okay, and figured out that all of the things that we wanted to do on a document could be done, except for maybe one small thing that we could, wasn't mission critical. All right. And then we found out that there actually were the reports there that we needed in the beginning. I guess BB before Beth the reports were there that we were needed, but somebody thought it was really cool to hide them. Okay. So it took a while to find the right reports, but when we found the right reports, we found out it was actually very, very easy for us to do our job. And when I say it was very, very easy for us to do our job, I was not doing it. My staff was able to make it work and be happy with that. And then once you have a better understanding as to what everybody's trying to do, it makes sense to try to partner with Fidelity. And also the simple fact, I think I said this I think I'm repeating my own LinkedIn post. The fact of the matter is that every time I'm in a room, when I can tell somebody that that we can and we will work with Fidelity, it's a very pleasant surprise for everybody. Nobody has been, yeah, it's gotten the reaction I've wanted all the time. Now, we do have, because Beth can't change things or Alex can't change things by themselves. I don't give them too much grief, but there is the fact that we have to deal with their plan document. We figured out how to make it work. And this, the $1 million limit on this, we want all the plans and they don't. So we've got some things that we're overcoming. There's some other things internally with how technology is coming, but we've been promised that things are going to improve in the future. So let's lead that into a question do we have another question, Amanda?
Not yet. No.
Okay. So Beth, what have you changed? Oh, and Alex, we didn't talk about this in the pre-calls. Let's go to Alex. Sorry if it's no. Is there things that you've been able to get changed with your job?
Oh gosh, I wish. I think what's been working best is us being boots on the ground and then passing that up the chain.
Okay.
Beth is our executor.
Okay.
Well,
Okay.
I would say, Alex, I think credit to your team and obviously Laura Albert, who leads the team, was really actually changing or continuing to advocate on how advisor friendly we are and how important it is to continue to build new relationships in our pipeline. I would say that also kind of was not a former cultural initiative before.
Yeah, Beth, because you being advisor friendly is what, less than 15 years old, right? I think.
Exactly,
Yeah. Yeah.
exactly.
That was a
Yeah,
huge surprise.
yeah.
Yeah.
So I think they've done a phenomenal job. They have helped us essentially grow from, like I said, kind of like a 0% TPA sale to 25% of all of our sales is now with a TPA.
Okay.
And we couldn't have done that without Alex and her team.
So are the changes okay? So the TPA community is hoping for some changes,
Mhm.
okay, with how we technologically interact with Fidelity. Can we talk about those, or are those the things that you're hoping for? And are those things that affect the advisor community at all, or because they have very different logins, it doesn't matter?
All right. So I guess, first and foremost, I'll start with, when you talk about think of us as a startup. The TPA program is a startup within a very large entity.
Okay.
So in order for us to deliver a product, so to speak, or a solution, we really wanted to leverage what has made Fidelity so successful to date. And a lot of that was the participant experience. We didn't want to break any of that. So a lot
Okay.
of kind of how we put together the TPA roles and responsibilities, how we interact, the access points, was all basically to align with what does a client do today that a TPA would do on their behalf that helps that overall experience externally. So we essentially said we're just going to make TPAs look like plan sponsors. But what we were able to do is one, make sure that we had all the right profiling and provisions for security purposes. As you know, Fidelity is very, very judicious
Love
about
that.
our data and security. So that was the first thing we needed to do. And we're continuing to improve that so that access is faster, it's more detailed, and it allows, again, a TPA to do what they need for plan A to Z. We have continued to look at, again, that data and transparency. How do we get the data to you faster? How do we get it to you in a way that is more consumable? So we were able to work with standard TPA compliance software to ensure that they can digest the TPA data. But really, our focus is now on, like, because we started growing with TPAs, you have more than a handful of plans. We need now kind of that business view, the ability for you to manage an entire book. So we're working on that, which is going to be very similar to what the advisors see. So now there can be a really great discussion kind of from business and growth opportunities with the advisors because you're looking at that same data in the same way.
Well, yeah, because I've been grumbling about this for what, 3 or 4 years now. And until you said it that way, it never dawned on me why you had us log in the way we did and why you didn't bother spending the money to make the changes for us to have a block of business view, because you were selling a plan every blue moon, so it didn't make sense. Okay, well, this has been, again, this has been very helpful for me. All right, so we are, and
Good.
that's why I'm here.
Yeah.
Any other questions, Amanda?
There have been no other questions.
That's a good thing I can yak. All right. So, although this whole thing has been a question, I guess. So are gonna pull it to an end in a minute here for the final, before we have our final survey. Alex, closing words. Why are you happy to be at Fidelity, and what are you hoping to accomplish soon? And again, I'm not trying to turn this into a performance review. I'm just trying to help you share your message here.
Okay. Thank you for the question. I think the thing that makes me most excited about being at Fidelity, and I would say of my 10 years in the financial services industry, I can officially say Fidelity's been the lion's share of it. I come from a first generation college graduate, that being me.
Woo-hoo.
And I am very, very passionate about participant outcomes. And I think the fact that I come to work every day and really believe in the work that we're doing makes it very easy to do my job and to be here. I think my goals for myself, I mean, of course, I want to crush every goal that is given to me this year. So I want to keep that momentum. I want to keep driving. That's like passion project. I believe very strongly in the work that TPAs do. I think that you all make such a difference on these plans. I think advisors do as well. So I'm excited to be a part of, frankly, history at Fidelity. So I want to keep up the good
Okay.
work.
Okay. And I want you to know, because I'm a founding member of the Asteria Collective, I am supposed to be correcting you and having you say RPC. But since Beth's nom de guerre is TPA lady, I'm letting it slide on this edition of the webinar. Okay, Beth,
Yeah.
you get almost the final words.
Almost final roll. Well, again, I think that's a great question, and thank you.
And by the way, thank you, Alex.
We, or I would say, as I progressed through my career, and I was in the financial industry, I happened to find a TPA, and I just fell in love. I can't say it any other way. And I have been working with TPAs for 20 years now. It is my favorite part of the retirement industry. I love the ability to nerd out, and I love that if you actually unpack a retirement plan, the most influential member or service provider is the TPA. That is the only way you can get assets into the plan. The more assets you get in a plan, the better everything else is going to sail. So I have such great respect. And so when I saw that Fidelity was launching a TPA program, it was really a opportunity, as Alex said, to change history. And we want to do this differently, with a focus on creating collaboration between advisor and TPA and plan sponsor that truly works, that's truly engaging, and that creates even better outcomes than our competitors. So we have a mission, and we're marching towards it, and it is so exciting to be here. And I'm just really proud of, I call them my TPA champions. The TPA champions who have been part of Fidelity, and the TPA champions who are our TPA friends, who have really embraced going down the green path, the green line.
Okay, thank you very much. Alex, thank you. Beth, thank you. Always enjoy chatting with the both of you. Still looking for that video we did in Tampa, Alex, but I know you're not in charge of editing. All right. So everybody, 2 more quick slides here. Now that we've covered it together after today, are you more confident about discussing Fidelity with a prospective client? 1 for not, 2 for somewhat, 3 for very confident. All right. So hopefully we're getting nothing but 3s there. We'll see what we got going on there. And then finally, we do have some upcoming webinars. There is next month, we have a fiduciary expert. After that, we have another record keeper, American Funds, showing us how we can set up a plan in 6 weeks in time for Safe Harbor. There's most likely going to be a change in the September lineup, and very strong possibility we're getting Morningstar on. And then October is our friends at Empower. So thank you very much, everybody, for showing up. Thank you, Alex and Beth, for being our first record keeper webinar guests. I'm very grateful to both of you to share the time and answers with us. So, and I hope we did well. All right. So take care, everybody. Look forward to talking to you next month. And we're back on Wednesday next month. Take care. Bye-bye.